ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and any ex-girlfriends that might be creeping on my channel. We are back with QRC, and we've got another review for you today. And today we are going to go over the B&T APC9K Pro. And we're going to get right into this next. But before we do, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Tag Firearms. We can get some of the best firearms from manufacturers like B&T, Noveski, LMT, Knights Armament, and plenty more. Go ahead and check them out at their Instagram or at their website at tagfirearms.com. And before you leave the site, make sure you type in the discount code Devin the Dude to save yourself some money before you hit checkout. And let's get into this. To my knowledge, I believe the APC9 is one of the first subguns to get adopted by Big Army since the grease gun. So that is a pretty big statement, seeing as we've kind of walked away from subguns in the whole military aspect, but this one tends to shine above the others. And I don't remember exactly which ones were in the actual solicitations for that, but I know the APC9K won. There's a lot of things to be said about the APC9K. It's a little bit of a beefcake. It is small but mighty, and it's dense. Some of the unique things about the APC9 not only come from how it's built, an extruded aluminum upper and everything else, which really gives you a lot of rigidity in the system, but it also has to do with how they implemented the system. So with this one, it is a gas blowback operated PCC, but there is a hydraulic buffer in the back that lowers a lot of the perceived recoil impulse, which makes this a very smooth firing system. Another good thing about this system is the fact that with that 4.3-inch barrel, it is threaded. So that gives you options. They do come with a tri-lug adapter that you can screw on. Make sure if you use a tri-lug adapter, you really cinch that thing down with a wrench, because if not, it's just gonna unthread itself. But what I'd liked to do mostly with mine is I took a dead air muzzle brake, and at one point I used a cherry bomb. I would definitely say that the dead air brake functioned perfectly on that thing and tamed it down to a point to where I would say that it was very comparable to shooting, let's say, like an MP5K. Another good thing about the APC9 is the modularity of it. Since it doesn't use something like a buffer tube or anything on the back, it has a lot of room for stock and brace options. And also because of that, you can collapse it all the way down. On my test model, I had a telescopic brace on mine. I've had folding braces on them before. I've shot friends' guns that had folding stocks on them, you name it. And then you've got all sorts of secondhand aftermarket manufacturers that make adapters to use things like the ACR brace. And the good thing is most of these happen to be pretty cross-compatible with the other APC lines. Another few good main features about the APC9 is the fact that you can use interchangeable AR grips on this, which is very, very nice, because the one thing I hate the most is when you have a good weapon system and it has its own grip to it. Now, some people don't care, some people do. Personally, I do, because I feel like grip angle and everything else is a very personal thing, and when you start to shoot a lot, you notice a lot of the differences in how you torque your wrists and everything else. That is a big thing for me, and I appreciate that a lot, and that was something that was not in the first run of APCs, but something that was put in with the APC9 Pros. Also, with the Pro models, you do have the ability to use lowers like the 320 lower or the Glock lower, or you can stick with the original B&T lower that uses those mags. There are companies that you can get triggers from for these. Now, there have been times when I've used AR triggers and they've worked. There's been some times that they didn't. I know Geisley used to make a specific trigger for the APC line. I don't remember if they're currently making them anymore, but they were at one point, and there are a few other manufacturers that do state that their triggers do work. I didn't get the chance to figure out exactly what makes them work and what doesn't, so I don't want to put out any false information or any information that wouldn't be totally correct as to why they do or don't. All right, with all that out of the way, what is the shooting experience like with an APC9K? It really depends on what you have on there as far as the accoutrements It feels a little bit different when you're shooting it suppressed versus unsuppressed. It feels different versus shooting it with a brake versus non-brake. I mean, there's a plethora of different scenarios with that would really give you a different type of experience with it. But I mainly ran mine with a brake attached to the end. Like I said, I wanted to keep it kind of compact. It's a K model, and that's kind of what I figured it was for. Roller lock guns versus the APCs. It's not really a fair comparison, if we're being completely honest here. Bone stock, it's just not going to be the same. But when you start adding things, it makes a difference. But where you really get the advantages, in my opinion, is the ease and simplicity of taking care and maintaining a blowback gun versus a roller lock gun. There is a big difference in that, and roller locks are more or less, I mean, there's not a lot of people that can work on roller lock guns, that you need to kind of know what you're doing, versus a delayed blowback gun where it's a lot more simple, and the simplicity of it is kind of what makes those systems so good. Another thing I appreciate about the APC9K is the options that you have as far as accessorizing it. So a lot of people have asked me, what do I do for light laser solutions? With an APC9K, since it doesn't have a lot of M-LOK slots, what I chose to do was run a Surefire XVL2. That gives you the light that you need, and it gives you the laser that you need, both in the IR spectrum. But the thing is, for me personally, with a PCC, you don't need a massive amount of throw with it. You just need enough to get the job done. At night, I feel like that small compact system does perfectly. But one thing I will also say is be careful on what side you mount it on. Once you mount too many things on an APC9K Pro, you will have issues with the non-reciprocating charging handle on there. Another thing I forgot to mention is the ambidextrous features that this does come with. It comes with an ambidextrous charging handle that is non-reciprocating. It comes with ambidextrous bolt lock, bolt release, mag release, and ambidextrous selector levers, which is really great. So no matter what side you're shooting this from, lefty or righty, you can run this gun pretty well. So that is going to wrap up a lot of the big features to the APC9. But I'm sure you guys are wondering, what are my final thoughts on it? So full disclosure, the test gun I did have did come from B&T, and I had put a lot of rounds through that gun throughout the year and a half of testing it. It's a great system, and with all the systems that are out there to compare it to, I would say it's probably one of my top favorites. And here's why: the modularity, the ease of maintenance, the ability to place optics and lasers kind of wherever you want for a PCC. So I think I mentioned this in a previous video, what I think the objectives are of SMGs, PDWs, and so on and so forth. With this being a PCC slash subgun, the fact that it uses triggers that are very, very similar to AR triggers, and some AR triggers are compatible with it, is a big, big plus. And let me tell you why. Because with the amount of triggers out there, and there are some great triggers that you can really just scream with them, that kind of really encompasses the whole objective of what a PCC and subgun should be to do. It should be to saturate a target very fast, very quick, very effective, and efficiently. Those triggers give you the ability to do that, and that's why I feel that with those other points are why I feel the APC9K Pro is an excellent option if you're looking for it. And if you are, make sure you hit up Tag Firearms, because they have a few of them in stock right now. And don't forget to use discount code DEVINTHEDUDE. All right, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today. And if you guys haven't already, let's go ahead and like, subscribe, and go ahead and start an all-out war in the comment section so we can get some engagement going on. And I will see you guys next time on QRC.